We are on week 5 of manifesting a car. And where I left off was having had a night out, which left me really in the depths of my feelings. It really opened me up in a way that I was not expecting. And something that people don't realize is when you do deep energy healing, it opens up the parts of you that need to be healed. It's not a silver bullet. It's something to support you moving through it. In the Hindu religion or Ayurveda, I'm not sure which one, please forgive me, but in the Indian culture, there's something called samsara. And samsara basically are the energetic and emotional wounds that you carry. Some could call it karma. But until you work through your samsara, you will never be free. And so the energy healing that I love to do is created in a fashion that supports depolarizing stress. And the stress that I focus on and have come to realize is usually the root cause of a lot of issues are emotions. And when you can transmute them, and there's many different ways that you can do this. There's not one size fits all. I know for myself, I have had to combine different, I wouldn't say ideologies, but modalities that meld and mold into different ideologies. I am a lover of studying. I love studying the body. I think the body is the biggest key that we have to many of the questions that are asked today, especially when it comes to happiness, longevity, and just your overall well being. Because I believe in the mind, body, spirit connection. So I did this healing. It really awakened a deep sense of gratitude. But what I've noticed when it comes to deep energy healing is you will have a high low. So what happens is most people stay in this middle zone. They get a little bit happy, a little bit angry, but they kind of just stay in this comfort zone where they don't feel too much. They keep their emotions kind of confined. And to be honest, I find most humans hum along to the drum of misery, but in a way where it's minute enough that it comes off as being happy, but there's not a lot of encouragement to change. I do know everyone changes at their own speed and on their own time. And I also understand that we all have different constructs and different paths to walk. And some of us may not be called to move that quickly, move that speedily, and there's nothing wrong with it. I feel if you have the determination to keep moving forward and being better each day, that's really all you can ask. And this becomes a question of how do I work with the uncomfortable things that come up? Because this week I had so much discomfort, and my energy healing practice was very crucial because after I finished the blueprint of light, it kicked off needing to do it again. But this time I would do it slowly, and I would be integrating and healing different aspects of myself that were coming forward to the forefront. And the reason why I'm sharing this is because this week there was so much self-doubt, lack, and I hear this shame, blame that kept wanting to creep back into my life. And it was really interesting because I was at the point in my manifestation journey of finding a car that I was shopping around. I was trying different cars on, looking, and there's just a level of self-doubt that comes up. Am I picking the right car? Am I going to get scammed, fooled? And that's the shame and the blame, because the last time I was made a fool, and I picked a car that was completely rusted over. The guy pulled one over on me, didn't share anything about the salt belt. I didn't know any different. I was first time really buying a car, and I um, was in such a place of fight or flight that it just wasn't an enjoyable experience. So I took the last experience and I asked myself, how can I be better this time? And kind of what I touched on each day, if you have that determination to be better, I took the last experience and I'm like, okay, well, these emotions are coming up. Well, let me heal them. Let me work through them. And so I purposefully slowed things down so I could be aware of when I was falling back into old habits and when I was stepping into new ones. And it's so interesting to me that new emotions feel so anxiety ridden. They can make you feel worse almost. And that's because you're pushing through an energetic bubble, pushing out of your comfort zone. I think there's a reason why people maintain in that bubble. It's because energetically it protects them. And so you bounce around in this meter of what feels safe. And the second you make a jump, especially when it comes to manifesting something new that calls in a new part of you, a new being, a new state. And when I was buying this car, I was healing a part of me, an experience that I had the last round. So I was pushing through this energetic barrier almost. And it's so interesting when we do something wrong, we just shame ourselves. But I think back on my last car and there were so many blessings to it. I see that it was perfect. And I love you, R.I.P. Geraldine. I named my car. She was fantastic. She was podunky, a little bit, podunky, but always a good time. Your ride or die. And that car got me through so much stuff. And I was just nervous to pick a car that would keep me or bring me back down into a place of lack. So I really had to look at the car I was getting. Was I making decisions out of fear? And it was a lot of this back and forth. And I was leaning into my blueprint of light. Energy healing program, went right back into it, started over again, and just got really present with the emotions that come up. Because when these emotions come up, they are attached to the initial woundings that you're working with. And for me, lack was a big one that was coming up. And I wanted to keep moving through the emotions. And really, I was focusing more on that than focusing on the car. Going back to the 4 pillars of manifestation, I got really clear and I had to keep detaching because I found myself obsessing about, is this right? Is this wrong? And for me, that stems back to being a female who has had a lot put on her and needing to make the right choice and decision, not just for myself, but to put on a face for the world around me. And I know a lot of us feel this way. A lot of us do. A lot of us deal with this in varying degrees. So I just wanted to share that because it was so interesting to really look at the masks that were coming up, that were voices that almost were tricking me into making certain decisions. And I just focused on my energy healing. I fell off the wagon with my affirmations though. And the biggest thing I noticed was this, it was such a good week. I found myself doing affirmations, but they weren't a part of my weekly program, I guess you could say, because each week I have 4 affirmations that I repeat every morning to get myself going and to get myself grounded and to move the comfort zone, to keep moving it. Each week it's like moving the post next and the next and the next. And I didn't realize how intense it was until I pulled back and looked, just kind of reviewed the week. And what I found was interesting is even though I didn't follow my program correctly, I have found a system where I have affirmations that I've really come to love during this marathon, and I have them written up around my room. And so when I'd wake up, I'd get in this flow of doing my morning prayer, doing my morning affirmations, and just really feeling into them. And I feel like that balanced it out. I didn't go completely cold turkey, but by the end of the week, I felt a big difference of lack, in a sense of I didn't have it there, an emptiness. But I saw by the end of the week how discombobulated I was and how much I was relying on my own personality and propensity to push through and dig deep. And that's all good and dandy, but I have to be very careful because I can over push myself, being someone who's really energetically sensitive. And it just was a week of feeling uncomfortable, pushing through, and I'm grateful I did, um, especially in regards to work, putting myself out there. I went to a marketing gig and just being grounded to myself, really pushing the bounds of being uncomfortable. I was all by myself and feeling into people, being aware of people's personalities because you're connecting in and just kind of observing, detaching, and letting things be, and just kind of trusting the flow of things. And everything just kind of magically fell into place. And I'm just kind of trusting these little pebbles that are dropping. But it made me, again, pushed me out of my comfort zone. This week was just all about pushing me out of my comfort zone because before I was so tired and I kept hearing, oh, I'm too tired to do this. And I heard, no, that's lack. You can do this. It was right before 3-day weekend. So I knew I had time, but I also had a bunch of work I needed to do for my own business. And so there's just been this overload of work, but digging deep and trusting that I have enough energy, trusting that it'll be easy, trusting that the flow will come, which is uncomfortable because for me, being autistic, I like to plan things out because I'm so sensitive. I have to be aware and almost micromanage because people are so unaware of their emotions. They throw them out everywhere, and I have to do a lot of work to cleanse and clear people's stuff from my field because it naturally transfers. I'm naturally an open person. So this week was all about how can you stay open, embrace the experience, know when to detach from things that seem unhealthy, know where to put your energy. It's just this learning experience of where to put this newfound energy, because when you're manifesting, you're not only manifesting something physical, you're manifesting the mindset behind the physical reality. And I think that's what people touch on, but they don't verbalize it in that manner, which is where I think I've gotten tripped up. And I think a lot of people do. They obsess about the thing rather than the process and the learning and the commitment it takes to undoing the constructs that have held you in place, working through that energetic bubble. And that's why I love doing magnet pair therapy, because it helps to depolarize these structures in place enough to allow you to reconstruct them. It's tangible, it's doable in the sense where you aren't overwhelmed. Mind you, I know last week I had this big upheaval, and if you do a lot of energy healing all at once, yes, you can have big upheavals like the one I did. But if you do it slowly, very tangibly, like I'm doing this next round, it's always a reminder that going slow does serve you if you are diligent enough to keep moving forward with it, regardless of how you're feeling, showing up for your practices, showing up for your energy healing, showing up verbally, mentally. Those two play such an intrinsic role in how you are going to come out into the world. And I know for myself, it was nerve wracking, but it was a good experience. And it just felt like I was building on this muscle that I've been working through, and each week really shifting through and transmuting the lack mindset. So this week I ended up looking at a car and they didn't really sit right with me. And I'm still kind of thinking about it, but this week was all about focusing on my work, trusting that there'd be enough time, trusting that what was meant to be will be. And I detached from the car because I went and looked at one, and I've looked at another one, but each time it's been a no. And I'm learning to trust my instincts on this one again, slowing down. Last time I was in fight or flight major. This time I'm not. I am, but I'm working through it. I'm rewiring myself. So I'm grounded in a sense of peace rather than dysregulation. So I focused on my work. I focused on the things that were being called forward for me to do so I could stay in alignment. Sometimes releasing your manifestation is what's most important and focusing on what's going to help you build. And I pushed through another uncomfortable thing in completing a major step for my business. And it had to do with finishing something for copyrights and waiting on it. And just once I was done with that, I heard detach. And it's like I'm doing all these different projects all at once, and I'm being guided when to stop, when to move forward, when to stop, when to move forward. And each week I keep fine tuning it. I'm learning when to let go and also learning where my boundaries are. And this is super crucial, especially as you learn to manifest, because you don't want to let other people's emotions influence your choices. And that's something that I was really kind of feeling this week, not only from emotions in the present, but emotions in the past. And I'm sure I'll share more on that in the coming week. But I don't feel like this was a glamorous share, nothing crazy. I just feel like I had a big high, I went into a low, and I've just been in that healing stage. And now I'm just coming out into a more level place emotionally and energetically. Because when you have deep healing, have a big release, you can feel good, but then there's this recalibration period. I manifested a new physical reality by healing those deep wounds, which then I feel lays the stage for a physical reality to meet and match that. So we will see what happens in this next week. But if you would like to learn or follow and see what I've done, you can check out the description. I have my whole playlist, Mindset Magic. And then I also have added the link to my bio that has the blueprint of light and all my other energy healing courses that you can check out. Those are all available to you now. And I'm really curious to see next week what is going to come forward. Will this car meet me? Or will I need to wrestle with some new things that are necessary to do so before I am gifted that car and am matched with that car? So thank you for joining me, and we'll see you in the next video.